Didn't Jimmy bring most of the comedians on? No, he brought his little crew on in the beginning, but after that, no, dude. Every comedian in the world wanted to come on our show. I think he brought Voss. I don't know though, because I saw Voss at Caroline's, and I was that gets a little blurred, to be honest with you. Did Jimmy bring some of his friends that were really funny onto the radio show? 100%. But I was in Caroline's a lot, also working comedians. Every time I saw a comedian, I made sure I talked to them, and I was seeing what they were about, and then I would make decisions and bring it back to Anthony or whatever, and say, "Wow, I saw blah blah." I remember that's what happened with Jim Jeffries. Didn't know who Jim Jeffries was. He was doing some kind of comedy gig with Dennis Leary. I talked about this recently. And I went back and told Anthony, I know I did, and said, I just saw this comedian that was unbelievable. And then because we have all the connections, we got a hold of Jim Jeffries or his people. And next thing you know, he started coming on our show and he just crushed it. But with that said, sure, Jimmy brought some people to the show, but not all of them. God, no. Every single comedian wanted to do our show. Comedians would get mad because we wouldn't pick them. We only had so many slots. We made there were a bunch that I wish I had another shot at. I thought Mike Birbiglia was amazing, but the other guys didn't really see it, and they weren't all about having Mike Birbiglia on the show. And I wish I would have put my foot down on that one, because I really thought he was really good and unique and different. There's a list of those type of guys. Dane Cook should have done our show way more than he did. He only did it like a couple times. Tom Segura. We missed the boat on Tom Segura. I think he did the show maybe once, maybe twice. He's another one. There's a list of those type of guys out there. Who brought Patrice? Honestly, that might have been Jimmy. He brought Patrice, most likely, possibly Voss. Although I do remember meeting Voss very early on. But all right, we give him Voss, Bob Kelly, Keith Robinson, who didn't really do the show a lot, and possibly Colin Quinn, possibly. But that one I'm not sure about, because there was a time when, it wasn't a lot, but when me and Anthony were getting along, we would sit outside the Brooklyn Diner waiting to do our afternoon show at NEW, just hanging out, because especially on a beautiful spring day. And I remember Colin Quinn walked by. He knew who we were, and he just crushed in front of us. And so I'm not really sure about the Colin Quinn one, because he was very aware of us way back in the early days of WNEW. Voss brought Patrice to the show. Is that what Voss says? I've heard that over the years. I don't know how true that is. Actually, that's one reason why I stopped going to the Comedy Cellar a long time ago. I used to go there a lot. But it got to the point when we were really successful that I felt the pressure. Like, that place is filled with comedians that are going to be on the stage that night, and then comedians at the bar trying to pick up girls, then comedians maybe with their dates to show off. The place was packed with comedians. And when I went in there, I'm talking about when I had a massively huge, successful show, I felt the pressure. These guys would try to get a little FaceTime with me, because they knew that, being on our show, especially back in the day, meant that their status would go up dramatically and quickly.